Hola people pros, and welcome to the launch of our HR Tech Report. We are looking forward to an insightful session. We're going to be analyzing some of the findings of the survey that we conducted. Now, if this is your first time interacting with Elevate HR, first of all, karibu sana. We are so glad you're here. Allow me to just briefly introduce ourselves to you. We are the People Company. We're all about people. At the core of what we do and what we believe is that people are an organization's most valuable assets. And that's why, first and foremost, we develop homegrown innovation that helps organizations like yours unleash the potential of your people. We're also very, very deliberate about people professionals in general. And that's why we have created a community of now 1,000+ HR professionals so that we can establish opportunities to empower people professionals. Therein, you get to access networks and conversations like these ones. We're also very keen on financially empowering our people pros. We provide opportunities for HRs to invest in what they know best, HR tech, and also give them opportunities to monetize their skills through now our consulting arm. So if you're a people professional, you're watching, you're not part of our community, come on now, you're playing yourself. Please sign up, as we have way more fun on Slack. So at this point, I'd like us to get into the conversation of the day. So last year we conducted a survey on the state of HR technology in East Africa. And today we are going to be talking about some of the findings. And I'm so excited because we are privileged to be joined by two phenomenal guests who are going to help us break down some of the content of the report. So I know it's what everyone has been waiting for. So without further ado, allow me to introduce our first guest. Now, should I, ladies first or?
You pick.
Okay. Okay, so my pick is ladies first. So our first guest, allow me to just read a brief bio. She's a seasoned HR professional with over a decade of diverse experience spanning industries such as hospitality, real estate, and technology. She is dedicated to elevating the employee experience. She strives to empower individuals within her operational sphere to thrive through a combination of nurturing, coaching, and meaningful interactions. Her passion lies in creating a positive and growth-oriented workplace environment. I really like that. Irene Mutegi, karibu sana to the stage.
Asante.
How you feeling? What are you most excited about?
I think for me, I'm just excited because this tech report has just made me to reflect back on the days where HR was so manual and just appreciating the journey and how things have become efficient over time.
I love it. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this. I know I've read a really nice introduction about, but I want a fun fact, something that I haven't mentioned in your bio.
Oh wow, I love food.
Food? So you're a foodie.
I'm a foodie.
I love it. I'd say same. So amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Then our second guest, allow me to also read his bio. He is a true champion of people and progress. He is an architect of thriving workplaces. For over a decade, he has carved his path in the HR landscape, traversing both the private and public sector. As a transformative force shaping the future of HR, his unwavering passion for quality and innovation burns bright, illuminating the path towards empowered workforces and thriving organizations. So he's also well-versed in strategic planning, quality management, HR analytics, talent acquisition, learning and development, talent management, among other impactful functions. Samuel, karibu sana to the stage. What a bio. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Tell me, what are you most looking forward to?
I'm looking forward at East Africa getting to the next stage. As far as HR in tech is concerned, we have made very good progress over the last couple of years, and the future is bright, so I'm excited.
The future is bright. Yeah. I agree. So I know I've also read a pretty good bio, but I want you to tell us a fun fact that I haven't mentioned about yourself.
Wow.
It could be random, Sam. It could be random.
I'll say I read weird stuff.
Weird stuff?
Yeah.
Define weird.
You'll find me reading quantum mechanics. You'll find me reading about, all sort of things, both in science and in art. Yeah, so I read a lot of,
I didn't, yeah, quantum mechanics.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be eating my food when he reads that.
Awesome. So clearly, we're in good hands. I cannot wait to dive into the conversation and just get to hear your thoughts. So before we get even into the questions, allow me to just give a brief overview of what the survey was about, and then now we'll get to talk about a few of those aspects. Is that good? All right. So brief highlights. So a majority of the participants were in finance, manufacturing, tech, and healthcare industries. Which industries are you guys in? By the way, we didn't mention that.
I'm in healthcare.
Healthcare.
Yes.
Tech.
You're in tech. Awesome. And then 91% of our participants were from Kenya, and then the others were from Uganda and Tanzania. So we have relatively good mix. And then 33% of the respondents were HR BPs, and then 36% were HR managers, and then the others were HR officers and HR assistants. So that's a good mix. And then the subjects we covered, so we looked at just the general assessment of the current state, satisfaction and optimization for the guys who are using the tech, people's motivations and challenges to take up software, selection criteria, data security, and those are some of the few things that we're going to be talking about. So I'd like to begin this conversation with some, relatively good news. Yeah. So as per the survey, 67% of our respondents use HRIS systems. So I don't know, is that good news? Is that relatively good? What is your take on that? How are you doing?
I think that's a good reflection as far as the industry is concerned. It shows that we are getting to a point where people appreciate the role that technology plays in their workspace. And it is not just a tool, but it's a means of enriching our workforces to be able to leverage on things that are much more broader in terms of empowering us employees and achieving higher levels of productivity. Yeah, so 67%, well, not bad.
Not bad?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Irene, what is your verdict?
I'm excited. And I just as I said, I think for me, the most interesting thing is whenever I think about HR, HR and tech, I think about all the manual things I had to do when I started my career, and having to see that people are actually transforming transforming for efficiency. And just as Sam said, it's a great opportunity for now the HR practitioners to stop being administrators basically and move into strategy and aligning themselves into the business and what the business is about. So we are able to now put away all the administrative work, focus, and then above all get the data and analytics to actually support some of the decisions that or rather some of the proposals that we put in the boardroom. So it's really exciting to see that we are getting into that space and the future is bright.
I love that. You know, we always say that people are an organization's most valuable asset. And I think in that case, then the HR function should also be the most important one. And I agree with you that, HR it's about time we focus more on people, we focus more on strategy.
Yeah.
But now for the 33%, Sam, why should they care? Why should they fix things that are not broken?
I think they should care because there is a lot of untapped opportunity into that space. Like Irina said, we need to start shedding off some of these administrative duties that occupy so much of our time and start focusing on the strategic a bit of it. Yeah. So the paperwork needs to go as that, we just need to get rid of it as soon as possible so that we now focus on the people, and the H in HR. Yeah. So things that are, tying us back, they need to go.
They need to go, I agree.
Yeah.
So let's talk about satisfaction. At least we agree that as 67% is a relatively good number. So out of the 67% that were using the software, only Now this data is a bit staggering, at least to me. 15% are very satisfied. Okay, 32% were neutral, and 9% were like, what is this? So those ones were completely dissatisfied. So how can organizations bridge the satisfaction gap, especially when it comes to now HR tech? Maybe I can hear from you, Sam.
Okay. I think first of all, it's important that we start by collecting feedback so that we start seeing what do employees really value as far as tech is concerned, so that once we have that data, we now are able to make data-driven decisions in terms of leveraging the satisfaction levels in the organization. So it will be important to start from getting genuine feedback, and once we get that feedback, then we are able now to come up with interventions that are aligned to what is suitable for the workforce.
So first of all, getting to the employees, asking
Yes.
them exactly what they want, what they need.
It's a very important place to start.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Irene, where do you lie? Are you amongst the 15% who are very satisfied? Are you dissatisfied? Are you neutral? First of all, give me the statistics. Where do you lie?
I think I'm satisfied.
You're
I'm part of the
satisfied. I love it.
15%.
Okay, why are you satisfied?
I would say I'm satisfied because whenever I think about, tech and HR, I think about because look, HR is serving the business and is serving the people at the same time. So it's a very core function, and you always need to understand what does the business require at this particular time. It's easy for me to wake up and go and put in a proposal to get a time and attendance system just to track people, but then what? But when I go and say, okay, let's have time and attendance, and this can put in the shifts that we have, which then feeds into payroll, then I'm talking about saving time, and I'm talking about putting in efficiency, right? So when I try to think about the other percentage that are not satisfied, my big question is, were they just ticking a box by getting that system? Okay, I just want to do leave manually. Let me pick the leave. Let me onboard the leave system, but not focusing on what exactly you're trying to solve for the business, because you're solving something for the business. Because once you solve problems that are aligned with the business needs, then you're able to scope into that, and then satisfaction comes because your stakeholders are happy, and your stakeholders are the employees and other business owners and investors and all these people. So for me, I would say satisfaction comes with making sure you understand the needs of your stakeholders. Just as you said, there's employees, there's still the business as well. So bringing that together, then that should be able to make you understand the kind of system that you need to put in place.
Oh, wow. I think, so understanding the needs of the business, understanding the needs of the people. So those are the two things that we're focusing on. I think that leads me almost to the question on selection criteria. So I know you've talked about, you've alluded to what you go for when you're choosing a system. But maybe we can now deep dive a little bit on what particular things. Now, when it comes to how do you select a system, what are some of the things that, other than what you've mentioned, is there anything else that people should consider when they're selecting a system? Maybe some, because I've heard from Irene, some from me, and so that we can close that one. Okay,
I think this one I will speak from my experience. What I found is very critical to consider is the flexibility of the system in terms of how you are able to customize that system to your needs. Yeah, it's a very critical element because it is what will chart the path to the functionality, future functionality of the system. Yeah, because a system should be flexible enough to accommodate future changes within the industry, within the organization, both internal and external issues that may come along the way. So I think customization is very important. So you might not just want to have a system that you buy off the shelf, and and probably you start having challenges, trying to accommodate new issues along the way. I think for me that's the most important thing. That will be a consideration of whether you want to build it in-house or whether you want to do it from an outsourced vendor. Yeah, so, but there are many options on that.
All right, so so we had actually a question on selection criteria, and 90% of our respondents wrote about these three key issues. The first one was ease of use, customization options, I think which you've talked about, and then integration capabilities. So based on the 90%, how can HR professionals ensure that HR tech solutions align with these requirements? So do you think ease of use, customization options, which you mentioned, and integration capabilities are critical factors? Maybe we can hear from you, Irene.
I think all those are critical, and they're critical because I always think about the scalability of any tool that you're using. For example, let's say a business acquires a system when we are 50 employees, and it works because we're 50. And then we are 1,000 or 500 probably for, let's use 500, right? And you have to think about the full 360 of, okay, it works when I'm 50, but when we scale, is it still efficient? When we scale, what will the need look like? When we scale, probably we'll need this to feed into we need attendance to feed into payroll. We need payroll to feed into finance because of cost centers reporting. You have to look at the full 360. So anytime you think about that, you need to think about the future and the limitations, because this is what happens, and this is why sometimes it becomes expensive. You buy something that works when you're 50, and then when you're 100, it doesn't work. So guess what? You need to go and purchase, because probably the one that you already is existing cannot be upgraded to meet the capacity that you have. That means you need to get an alternative tool. That's cost. So it becomes expensive, it becomes tiresome, and you keep launching. And of course, mentally, even the employees will get tired, because this day you're launching this, the next time you're launching that. They don't want to get tired. There is something that works. Yeah. So you need to figure it out. So you need to understand, for this, if the business goes as it plans and we do scale, what does that look like?
I love that. So thinking about scalability. All right, so I'll have to say, on ease of use, I'll shamelessly plug Elevate HR. So I've interacted with a number of software, and I think for us, one of our design principles was simplicity. So can we design a product that anyone who understands basic English can use? And that's why for us, our UI and UX, we really prioritize on that. So on ease of use, we're winning points.
I had someone once say that if you want to know your product will work, just let's think about social media, because I don't think there's anyone who's ever sat on using a social media platform. So if it's not expressively the same, it's difficult to understand. Because even if our parents can use this, they can be on social media, that tells you the ease is very key.
Exactly. Yeah. Not everyone was trained like social media. Did you get a tutorial? Some looks like...
I don't think there was ever a tutorial.
Were you onboarded onto Facebook?
As much as we're saying that, we need to remember that in the workplace there are different generations, and there are people who will still find some struggle in utilizing computerized technologies. So we need to be mindful of that group, people who are not brought up with computers, people who are not on those social media websites. They have never used Facebook. They are there in the workplace. Yeah. Twitter is like, or rather, now it's called X. It is something like, it's out of their understanding completely. They might not be able to interact with it freely. So we need to ask ourselves, how can we be able to accommodate this group? And there are many things we can be able to do. Yeah, we need to try and train them at their own pace. Yeah, and try so that you ensure that you have been able to use the language that they understand. You make sure that the system is self-explanatory. The interface is, easy for them. Yeah. Otherwise, there is something, I don't know if the word is technological discrimination. You know, you might be accused of that. Yeah, so
Okay, okay.
that should not stop you from utilizing technology, but it really depends on the kind of demographics you have for your organization. So some of these things are going to vary from organization to organization.
All right, so training.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
should emphasize on training.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
okay,
yes,
okay.
yeah.
All right, so we also looked at motivations and challenges, like why people actually get this software. And I know we've talked a bit about that, but I just want to mention from the report what most people were leaning towards. So they stated that the reason, one of their motivations for taking up systems is to streamline their HR processes and increase operational efficiency. So how can organizations, and I know you briefly talked about this, but how can organizations effectively achieve these goals? So the first goal, streamlining HR processes. The second one, increasing operational efficiency.
I would like to react on the first a bit, streamlining HR processes. It's a very important point to start because I usually see organizations struggling to implement HR systems when the processes have not yet been well documented. The process flows have not been fully agreed on. So once that has not been taken care of very well, you will find challenges in implementing a system successfully. And you'll find that there are problems in terms of different stakeholders agreeing on what should be done and how the system should be used and how it runs. Yeah, there will definitely be problems with the functionality. So, for example, if it is, for example, I'll use a very simple example, leave application system. Before a HR department goes about to, wakes up one day and say, we want to have an automated system for leave. The first question is, have you first sat down and agreed how we want our leave application process and approval and the leave scheduling and everything? Have we first of all agreed on that? Yeah, before we start telling the IT guys, oh, we want this a particular system. Yeah, so you have mentioned a very important point, streamlining of HR processes. We need to start from there.
All right. What about those whose main goal is to increase operational efficiency? Irene, I want to pick on you because I think your organization is pretty efficient. So I want personal testimonies. Maybe tips for HR professionals who are looking to increase their efficiency.
HR is growing as a career, and people are moving into specialized roles, right? And the only way people can move into specialized roles is if every role is defined and the scope of work, right? So if the basic, because I call them basic processes, like things like leave, these are basic processes that exist in an organization that they won't change. Every day you'll be assured someone will go on leave, they'll come back, someone will become sick. It's guaranteed, right? Yes. It's the same way finance sit and they're sure someone is spending money, and procurement is sure the company is buying something. Like we've gotten to that level. So why not take that that which we are sure, and the reason why we are sure that this will happen is because these are things that even the law itself guides and has defined this as the basic of employment, salary. They're existing, so they're not going away, they're not changing. Then why not automate it? Right? Automate it, then take a step back so that HR becomes specialized. The reason why we can sit and say we have a benefits specialist, we have a payroll specialist, we have a HR business partner, we have a HR consultant within an organization, is because we've let go of those things that are not within our control. The law has defined it, it's not going anywhere. So why do you want to focus on calculating someone's leave balance? It's a total waste of time, right? So I feel that efficiency is what has allowed the impact of HR to be felt. Yeah. the impact of what does, we can sit and say the business needs this right now. What's the future talent? We can talk about future talent. We can talk about future skills at the organization, because we are able to map that out, because we are not counting leave balances.
Okay, but Irene, how would you respond to somebody who says, those systems, those processes require money? And I'd say 61% actually of our respondents said that the main reason why they haven't adopted systems was because, high maintenance costs, money was the question. So what would you say to those people who said, well, we don't have the money to put up those processes and those systems? And then also, would you say that in the long run, that it would be more costly not to implement such systems? I don't know. I'd love to hear your honest feedback. Maybe we can begin with Sam.
Yeah, I think the question that we need to ask ourselves is, what are we losing when we are not, implementing those systems? What are we losing? You might find that, you have employed, and I'm not saying that technology should replace people, but you might find that you have to employ like 10 people to do something that can be done by 2 people, if you had the right, system, yeah, and you find that in the long run, you are able to actually also save on other costs, that come along the way. You're actually able to avoid risks. Nowadays, we are very keen on, risk management in organizations. You're able to prevent the occurrence of so many risks that might occur through human error and all that. So when you sit down and look at the cost that you might incur when you are not implementing the right technology, then you will see sense in investing in the right technology. Yeah.
So take costs, count your costs.
Yes.
All right. So Irene?
I think without even, and I'm saying this without fear because I know it happened. COVID taught everyone a very hard lesson, right? Because it got to a place where you couldn't have people in the office. And people had businesses to run. And I think that's where the hard truth about technology reached, because how do we account for people who are in their houses? How do we tell if they're okay? How do we communicate to them? How do we do spot checks on just to ensure they are fine? There are people who used to get sick and they used to be quarantined. And if you all remember the early days of COVID where there was confusion, people used to be taken to, I can't remember the facility, but I think it was KMTC, and they were locked there. So what if your employee one day woke up and they are away and they can't communicate to you? Those realities should, I believe for any organization which went through COVID right now, should not even be thinking twice about technology. Because that's where the reality of work flexibility, hybrid. Now, look, how many jobs are being posted and they're saying hybrid? Because it's become a need. Like, I'm someone who's thinking, okay, where I am, I'm a mother. I need the flexibility to do this. I'm looking for jobs that are posted that are saying hybrid. Yeah. You're looking for the keyword of flexibility. So how do you assure these people flexibility and hybrid if you don't have the systems for it? So what are you losing out? You're going to lose out on the talent, because nobody will want to work for you. When you tell them they have to fully be there 8 to 5, it sounds scary, right? Nobody will want to work for you. So you lose out on the talent. You lose out on the coordination. You will not attract you lose. So it's one of those things where you sit and say, just as we invest on any other resource in the organization, we need to start investing in these systems.
I love that we have to really invest in this system, because at the end of the day we are losing more than we're gaining, right?
Yeah,
for
sure.
So
yeah.
I think this is a great point to watch a video that actually talks a bit about that.
So for this segment, I'm joined by Sam, one of our engineers, and we want to share some amazing news that are happening in the product team. Yeah, Sam,
Yes.
take it away.
So we're working on an exciting module. We're working on the performance management module, which is going to be part of our new releases this quarter.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so Sam, why is this module important for organizations?
So imagine you're a department lead and you have, let's say, 10 people working under you, or even imagine you have 100 people working under you. You would want to know at a glance, what are my people doing? Are their goals aligning to our organizational goals? And how are they achieving them across maybe a period of time? Is it a quarter or is that over a period of a year? So you would want to have a platform that allows you to have that sense of
Track.
visibility. Yeah.
Okay, so Sam, how is this module different from the traditional performance review process that some organizations are still using?
So let's take this example. Faith comes to my office because I'm her boss and she's requesting for a salary increase. How do I determine that Faith actually qualifies for a salary increment? In traditional models, maybe you would have to go through a process where the employee tells, I've done this, and it's he said, she said, yeah, I did, you did not do, or I did something, but it doesn't really contribute to organizational goals. So we'd want to have a platform that allows us to basically give the employees visibility into what are the main things that we're focusing on as an organization and how they can directly have their work goals directly align to those organizational goals. So the employee would go onto the platform, set their goals, and then at the end of the review process, maybe it's at the end of 2 quarters and you would want to see whether they're improving, you can look at their personal goals and see how they've achieved those goals against what they set.
Nice.
So that gives you 100% visibility into how your employees are performing.
All right. So fantastic news, Sam. That sounds really exciting. So for those eager, without giving out too much, can you share one feature that HRs or management teams can be on the lookout for?
So if you are a HR out there and you're looking for a module that kind of reflects what we've talked about, our platform will allow you to have a dashboard where you can see as a HR a specific view into every employee or every department or the whole organization. And you can see how your organization is performing, and you can also see how your employees are performing against your set goals. So that's something interesting that you can look out for. It is visibility that maybe you never had before, but that's what Elevate HR does.
Yeah, great. So if you're looking to try this module, you just have to go to elevatehr.co, click on request trial, and our team will reach out to you. Bye.
So we also looked at future trends, and top of the list was AI and machine learning, with 69% stating that that is what they foresee for the future in terms of HR tech. How do you think organizations can best prepare and embrace these changes? I'll start with you, Sam. You're the techie. No, actually, both of you are techies.
So AI is becoming a very, very disruptive technology, and of course it is causing both excitement and concern. And I will say that there's a lot that we can leverage from artificial intelligence in terms of improving our workplaces, but at the same time it is something that requires a lot of preparation of our workforces, especially at the psychological level, because many people are asking themselves, oh, are we going to lose jobs? Our jobs going to be, lost because to AI rather. What is going to happen? What's the future? Are robots going to take over? And the future is very uncertain when you factor in AI into the equation. But I would say that we need to start focusing on what artificial intelligence can help us. There is what AI is strong in. For example, it's very good in data analytics. It's very good at things that require, a high level of logic. So that one can probably be left to be handled by AI technologies and AI systems. But still, you cannot remove the human from the equation, because there are those judgment-based decisions that humans are much better at than artificial intelligence. So I think I see it as a point of convergence, yeah, that AI should not be seen as a threat, but it should be seen as something that can augment the human experience. Yeah.
Have you actually seen people lose their jobs to AI though?
Well, we can't really say that we have seen one or two people who have lost their jobs directly, but indications are, you know, probably at this point is happening a bit indirectly, yeah, because you might find that right now some organizations, especially like tech organizations in the US, have been reported to, you know, trying to reduce their the hiring of developers, because some of the developing the developing development work is being tasked, or rather it is being handled by artificial intelligence. Yeah. So maybe we have not gotten to a point where people are actually, the people who are already employed are losing their jobs, but we are seeing it affect the rate of employability of human beings. So there's a way it has started probably affecting individuals, but not in a very direct way. Yeah.
All right, but I generally love how disruptive AI is.
It is.
I think
It
it's
is.
a
It
quote
is.
that I really like.
It is.
Whether you disrupt or die at the end of the day. But Irene, I'm curious to know if you have used AI, first of all, to streamline your HR processes or just to make your processes efficiency. And also, what do you think about these trends, AI, machine learning, especially when it comes to HR, the HR spectrum?
Well, I don't think we've gotten where we're using AI to already streamline our processes. But I would say, I like what you said, AI is disruptive. But this is my take on it. And I would say AI always needs someone to prompt. Yeah. So you need to think about how do I prepare myself to prompt? How do we ensure that the employees in an organization understand the need to prompt? Because I don't think there's any AI that has been created that is thinking about our thoughts and waking up and doing what we need to do. It's organizing your calendar. I don't think we're there yet.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I don't think so, because that would mean people with that way probably have chips in there or something. I'm just thinking out loud. Yeah. But we're not there. But the one thing I would say is it's disruptive because it's getting people out of their comfort zone to think about the skills for the future. And I think that's a very good place, because sometimes we get to a space where there's a lot of mediocre, and we need to think, because if AI is going to do a lot of basics, then we need to think differently. And one thing we are always told, the human brain is the most superior to any artificial intelligence. So that means a good number of us have never gotten to probably even 60% of the capacity of our brains. So how do we push ourselves to get to that point? So I feel like it's a more of AI is coming. It's not going anywhere. What should we do? Think about the skills of the future. Think about having the right partners to actually guide you on what is in the market, what you need to do. And I think above all, people need to talk about AI and ethics. AI and ethics. How can I be ethical when using AI? You know, sounds strange, because why AI and ethics? But yes, you know, how do we also audit that it's not biased because of them? Maybe there's a particular people that's giving it prompt, and then the system becomes biased to a certain. How do we audit? So I think it's just those points where how do we get to AI and ethics?
I think that's such a broad conversation.
Yes.
We should probably do a part 2 on that. But I'd also like us to look at mobile accessibility, because a majority of our survey respondents deem that as absolutely necessary. So the question is, how can organizations leverage mobile-first solutions, especially to enhance flexibility and even remote work capabilities? Maybe Sam, I can hear from you.
Okay.
Do you deem it necessary, first of all, mobile?
Yeah, as you have asked that question, my mind was shifting to this demographic in the workplace that we are nowadays calling Gen Z. Yeah, they are coming fast, and you know, they are joining the workplace at a very high rate, and you know, research has shown that they are very good in using mobile technologies. Yeah, I think millennials are who are used to things like laptops and all that. Yeah, so when you have that demographic, you cannot ignore the smartphone and all that. Something that can be accessed from anywhere, wherever the person is, they are able to actually access a company, resources. Somebody can apply for their leave, somebody can, approve a request, somebody can do 1, 2, 3, yeah, at any time, anywhere. Yeah, so that is the direction we are going. And nowadays we are seeing that personal gadgets are being used to facilitate work. And probably those are things that need to be enshrined in policy, so that we look at how that can be done in a manner that does not compromise things like security and privacy. Yeah, so I think those are the issues that we really need to look at, but it's something that is not going away. Yeah, definitely it's the way to go.
Lovely. Irene, 2 cents on the same.
Well, it's necessary. That's what I would say. It's necessary. I think about people in the field. I think about a company that has field workers. How do you keep track? How do you keep track of what's happening on site? Gone are the days where after every day's work, the field people have to come to the office to sign off that they've gone home. It was a waste of time, resources, and I think it's necessary, because everybody has, if an 8-year-old has a phone, like, what are we doing? It's necessary.
I love that. All right. So, and I agree with you. And that's why over at Elevate HR, like, we have really emphasized, right now we are actually developing our mobile app. So when employees are looking to, you can request leave via phone, you can check, you can salary advances, because mobile is the future. So for us, what we are very keen on is also prioritizing that function. All right, let's talk also about data security, because I think that's a hot topic, especially when it comes to HR tech. So based on this report, it highlights the emphasis on data security and compliance. And first and foremost, I'd just like us to give an overview, best practices when it comes to data compliance and security. So I'd like to hear from both of you, because I think that's a very critical topic. So who would like to start? Maybe Sam.
Okay. Yeah, it's a very hot issue. Yeah, data security as well as privacy. This is something that needs to be addressed with a lot of emphasis within the HR space. When you talk about data security, you are looking at it from different angles. You are looking at what HR needs to do and what IT needs to do in terms of their system. For example, we need to ensure that people are able to access data that they are required to access, what we call the need to know basis. Yeah, we also need to ensure that people don't access data that they are not authorized to access. Yeah, that the access rights are very clear, and we don't have room for misuse of or that access. Remember, this is now even in the law. We in Kenya we have the Data Protection Act, which stipulates how we should handle private data and personal data, and we need to ensure that we comply. We are in compliance with these laws, and aside from that, we also need to look at things from the system perspective. We need to look at who is this, who handles our data. Yeah, like you are a company, you know, let's say whatever company, you're a manufacturing company, you have 200 employees, you have outsourced your data to maybe a third party. Yeah, what kind of agreement do you have with that third party? Can they misuse your data? Yeah, are they bound to some kind of you know, restrictive contract? You know, we need to look at those things. It's a very serious issue, and I'm looking at the future, and I'm seeing there's likely to be a lot of lawsuits in future in regard to breach of personal data. So if organizations are not careful, they will be finding themselves in court as a result of this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are very good checkpoints that you've given us. It's a good checklist. Maybe, Irene, you can build on it. Is there anything that we're forgetting when it comes to data security?
Just to say, it's important to classify data. The beauty about where the space we are in now, there's both global and we also have local laws that guide how to handle data. And because of that, we are able to classify data and then give access based on need. You know, gone are the days where I have to have a file and see the whole history if I'm probably not going to use. Probably if I'm a benefits HR and specialized in benefits, when I come to your file, I need to only see the benefits aspect of it. I don't need to see how many dependents you have and things like that. So we need to get to a space where information is given based on need. Payroll needs to just see anything that affects payroll. Anybody who's dealing with benefits and as such. So classify information based on need. And if then there is need for information that is not within the scope of your day-to-day work, then we have proper systems of authorization and declaration of what the information is for. That helps, it keeps everyone safe.
All right, so we're at the tail end of this discussion, but before I ask you guys to share a parting shot, I just want to ask you to give an overall overview of guidance. So when it comes to strategic guidance, what strategic guidance would you offer organizations looking to align their HR practices with, you know, the evolving needs of the African workplace? So maybe we can just start with you, Irene.
When you mention Africa, it's quite big. There's quite a lot to consider.
Okay, maybe we start with Kenya.
This is what I would say. But this is what I would say. I think if there's a time where, or rather, if there's an organization that probably took for granted their mission and vision and core values and things like that, I think this is where it's catching up with them, because we are getting to a space where every part of the business needs to feed into where the goal is, where are we going, right? And when you think about HR and tech, HR started like it was a department that was a very nice flower girl that used to have people's smiles, you know, and anything that did not have a job description was sent to that HR office, you know, at the corner. But we are coming to a space where the technology is helping us to validate the need for HR. And because we are being validated, we need to help the business to get to its mission and its vision. And that means we need to think skill, think scope. We need to sit here and be able to supervise a company that's not in Kenya. And I think that the trends are there, because you're having people in Kenya who are managing organizations in different parts of the world. Why? Because it's the skill. HR is the skill. The basics are taken care of by the systems. I don't need to know everything. I need to understand the basics, but I don't need to be the person driving everything. But I can support any organization from my locality. So we need to allow ourselves to grow We need to embrace technology. It's here to stay, and it's getting amazing. And one thing is that I really appreciate in the space that we're moving is data and analytics. I think if you look at the departments that have always been the stronghold, you know, finance, why is because they always spoke about numbers, and numbers don't lie. And what technology is allowing us as HR is to be able to have data analytics, pick up trends, themes that we can go and say, hey, our attrition is quite high. We're losing good people. Something is wrong. What do exit interviews look like? I don't need to go and open files. I need to just pull a report and see what people are saying and pick it up and fix something that needs to be fixed. I become a partner of the business strategically. Yeah.
I love that numbers don't lie. I think you've reminded me of a quote that I absolutely love. I don't know who the author is, but it says, in God we trust, everyone else must bring data. So Sam, I'd like to also hear your 2 cents on the same.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't know what to add more to what Irina said. I think she has really tackled it well. Yeah, so I think that is the direction to go. And technology is a way of future-proofing the organization. Yeah, so it is what is going to help us in ensuring that so many issues are tackled before they even happen, you know, risk management. Yeah, so once we are able to identify the right technology for the right kind of problem we are trying to resolve, then we are able to focus our energies on the right things. We are able to strategize and, you know, ensure that we pull the human resources to where it should be, that we are able to utilize the human element in the most optimum way, yeah, such that you know, we don't have a situation where you know, you are employing someone who is highly skilled, highly trained in a particular skill, but they are bogged down by, you know, manual repetitive tasks that, you know, can be handled by, you know, other, you know, a computerized system or even AI and all that. So I think that's the direction we need to go, so that we let the people be aligned to what they can do best. Yeah, and then we'll be able to realize great results.
I think that is absolutely profound. I don't think I could have said it any better. Technology is how you future-proof your organization. I love that. So I think we've come to the tail end of this discussion, but I wouldn't want to end it without allowing you guys to just give a parting shot to our audience right now. So we'll just get a parting shot and then we'll close it.
I think it's also just to appreciate this platform to actually have this discussion, and just to say that we need to continuously participate in such surveys that give us insights about our market. Like any other market that has been studied, you know, doctors, nurses, they're knowing trends within the market. I think this is one of the ways that we need to continuously understand what is happening in the space of HR. And HR is beautiful, and we need to take it to the next level. We are happy that now, gone are the days where we used to say we are not involved in the boardroom. We're already in the boardrooms. So it's how do we continuously create impact and bring insights that the business would appreciate.
I love it. Thank you very much. Sam?
Mine is short. I'll just say technology is a super enabler. Let's make it our friend.
I love it. Wow, short and sweet. All right, there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I will say if you're looking for payroll, leave, or performance management solutions, then the People Company is here for you. Also, the link to download this report is on the description box. So please download the report and let us know your thoughts on the state of HR tech in Africa. Thank you for tuning in. Bye-bye.